Good morning, y'all. Sorry we didn't have class yesterday. I was feeling extremely under the weather, but I'm starting to feel better. So I know I'm going to see you soon. I'm going to break this lesson up into a few different chunks, and we're going to start with exponents. Now, we talked about exponents just a little bit when we were discussing multiplication and division. And so this is just going to be a quick review of how exponents work. Okay, so we're going to look at our first example of 3 to the 4th power. And that's how you would say that. This is 3 to the 4th power. This is 5 to the 2nd power, or 5 squared. This is 2/3 to the 3rd power, or 2/3 cubed. So you want to make sure you know how to say these, but then you have to know how to solve them. So if we remember, this means that we are multiplying 3 by the exponent by 4 times, okay? So we're going to say 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, okay? And then we're just going to evaluate that. So we know that 3 times 3 equals 9, and 9 times 3 equals 27, and then 27 times 3 equals 81. So 3 to the 4th power is 81. Now you want to make sure that you don't get confused and just multiply 3 times 4, because if you did that, you'd get 12, and that wouldn't be right. Okay? Now, 5 squared, or 5 to the 2nd power, is 5 times 5. So we know that 5 times 5 is 25. So 5 squared is 25. Now let's look at this fraction. Because the whole fraction, the numerator and the denominator, are in parentheses, we know that the entire fraction is being carried to the 3rd power. So we would write that as 2/3 times 2/3 times 2/3. Now this is just the same thing as multiplying fractions. So we look at our numerators first, and we say 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. So we know that our numerator is 8. Now 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 3 is 27. So our denominator is 27. Now we can look at these numbers, and we can easily see that we cannot reduce that or simplify that fraction anymore. So we know that 2/3 to the 3rd power, or 2/3 cubed, is 8/27. Now make sure, like I said, that you don't look at this and go, oh, that's 5 times 2, because you would get 10, and that's not correct. We want to make sure that we know that this is 3 multiplied by itself 4 times. Okay? You got it? Hey y'all, time for the second part of our lesson, which is over order of operations. Now, if you remember learning this from elementary school or middle school or high school, you remember that we go with okay, now some people call this PEMDAS, and some people remember it as please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And the P stands for parentheses, the E stands for exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. And you're going to do everything in this order. Okay, so if I gave you the problem 5 plus 2 times 3, you're going to look at this and you're going to say, do I have any parentheses? And I don't, so I'm going to move on to exponents. Do I have any exponents? I don't. Multiplication. Do I have multiplication? Well, this isn't multiplication, but this is 2 times 3. So I'm going to do that first. I'm going to do 2 times 3. I know that I have 6. Okay? So now my problem reads 5 plus 6. Now I look at it. Do I have any more multiplication or division? No. Now I have addition. So I'm going to solve this. 5 plus 6 equals 11. Okay? That is your order of operations. That's the order that you need to make sure you're solving any problem given in. Okay? So let's look at, if I wrote the same thing, okay? I do the same process. I look first for parentheses. Well, here are my parentheses. So I know that I do what's inside this parentheses first. So I would do it. 2 times 3 is 6. And I would add it. Now another way that same problem could be written would be like this. 5 plus 2 times 3. Okay? If it's in a parenthesis by itself with a number directly to the outside, it's always multiplication. So because my multiplication comes before my addition, I know I'm doing it first. Okay, so no matter how it's written, if I go in the correct order, I'm always going to get 11. Okay, let's look at another problem. Let's see if that problem, using the same numbers, was written like this. I'm going to look up here at my rule, and I know that I'm looking for parentheses first. Well, what's in parentheses? 5 plus 2. So I'm going to do that math first. 5 plus 2 equals 7. Okay, now I'm going to bring back down the rest. Now I have a simple problem. 7 times 3 is 21. Okay, so you're following in this order. Now if I gave you a problem that looked like this. Okay, I'm looking for parentheses first. So inside my parentheses is 1 plus 4. So I know that 1 plus 4 equals 5. Now, what's in my parentheses also has an exponent. So now I'm going to transfer my exponent to the answer that was inside my parentheses. Okay? Now, I've done my parentheses. The next thing I need to do is look for exponents. Well, I do have an exponent here. I know that 5 to the second power, or 5 squared, is 5 times 5. Okay? So I'm going to write that like this. Okay. Now, 5 times 5 equals 25. Now I know that my problem says 25 minus 3. So the last thing I would do is solve this subtraction and get 22. Okay. So far, are we making sense? I hope so. Now, sometimes